I work maintenance at Chernobyl, and now I understand why you never come here at night. They pay us to keep Chernobyl contained, but they never told us what was contained inside. For 6 years, the zone has been my office. I'm a maintenance technician. I walk the deserted corridors, check the seals on sarcophagi that bleed poison, and listen to the wind sing through shattered administrative buildings. During the day, it's a ghost story you can get used to. A quiet, sprawling monument to a mistake we can never unmake. The money's good, especially now, and my sister's treatment in Lviv doesn't pay for itself. So when they offered me night shifts, I took them. Overtime is overtime. I should have let my sister die. God forgive me, I should have. The zone doesn't sleep. It waits. And at night, it dreams. The first thing you learn is that the silence is a lie. There are sounds, but they're all tuned to the wrong frequency. During my first week on nights, I was out by the perimeter fence checking a sensor array. That's when I saw it, a wolf. But it wasn't on 4 legs. It stood on 2, straight and tall as a man, its silhouette a jagged tear against the bruised purple sky. It was just watching me, head cocked. I raised my mag light, and its beam caught 2 points of light in the creature's head. Not the familiar green or yellow of an animal's eyes, but a deep, piercing cobalt blue. The color of Chernobyl radiation. The color of the devil's heart. I squeezed my eyes shut, convinced it was fatigue, a trick of the light. When I opened them, it was gone. A few nights later, I was in a security vehicle, driving the long, cracked road that runs parallel to the Pripyat River. My headlights swept across a clearing and froze a scene that didn't belong in this world, a sounder of wild boar. But they weren't foraging. They were working. With their tusks and snouts, they were arranging sticks, rusted scraps of rebar, and the pale, clean-picked bones of other animals into intricate, spiraling patterns on the ground. It was like a ritual, a diagram for something I couldn't comprehend. They moved with a disturbing, shared intelligence, a hive mind working in the dirt. When they noticed my headlights, they all stopped at once and turned their heads. A dozen pairs of those same cobalt blue eyes stared back at me, unblinking. I slammed my foot on the accelerator and didn't look back. I stopped reporting these things. The dispatcher's bored, skeptical voice was more isolating than the silence. But last night was different. Last night, the zone stopped dreaming and woke up. I was in Unit 2, recalibrating a pressure gauge, when I heard the scream. It wasn't an animal. It was human, high and thin and full of a kind of agony that scrapes you raw. It ripped through the silence from the direction of the infamous one. Reactor 4. My blood went cold. I keyed my radio, my hand shaking so badly it took 2 tries. Control, this is Anatoly. I have a possible vocal distress signal near Unit 4. Confirm, are any other teams deployed in my sector? The reply came back through a wash of static. Negative, Anatoly. You are the only soul on site. Probably just the wind. It wasn't the wind. The scream came again, closer this time, and it was cut short with a wet, gurgling sound. Every rational thought, every self-preservation instinct I owned, told me to get in the truck and drive. But that sound, it was the sound of someone being erased. I couldn't just leave them. Armed with nothing but a heavy wrench and my rattling dosimeter, I started toward the source. As I got closer to the sarcophagus of Reactor 4, the screaming was gone. In its place was a new sound, one that was so much worse. It was a song. A children's lullaby, faint and off-key, sung by a thin, reedy voice. It seemed to be coming from below ground level, from the sealed basements. My stomach twisted. There's only one thing of note in the basement of Reactor 4. A mass of corium, concrete, and sand that melted its way down here during the disaster. They call it the elephant's foot. It's one of the most lethally radioactive objects on the planet. The chamber that holds it has been welded and sealed shut for decades. Orders are explicit. You see anything wrong with that door, you run and you call the emergency line. The lullaby was definitely coming from there. And I could see a sliver of light bleeding from the bottom of the heavy steel door. That impossible, familiar cobalt blue. The door was ajar. My keys were on my belt. The master key for that specific lock was right there, cold against my hip. I'd never used it. No one had in my lifetime. I was the only one on shift. The only one with the key. My feet moved on their own, carrying me down the concrete steps into the oppressive darkness. My dosimeter, which had been clicking at a steady, familiar rhythm, started to chatter. The clicks got faster, closer together, blurring into a nervous buzz. I reached the door. The lullaby was clearer now. A little girl, it sounded like. I couldn't make out the words, just the simple, haunting melody. I put my hand on the cold steel and pushed. The room was bathed in blue light. It pulsed from the center, from the elephant's foot. But the mass wasn't the dull, black, slag-like thing from the archival photos. It was glowing, shifting, veins of incandescent blue light crawling over its surface like living things. It looked new, fresh. My dosimeter wasn't clicking anymore. It was screaming a single, unbroken, high-pitched tone. A death sentence. The metallic taste of ozone filled my mouth. My eyes watered. I felt the tingling heat on my exposed skin, like a terrible sunburn blooming in seconds. That's when the heavy door slammed shut behind me. The sound was like a gunshot in the small room. A heavy final click echoed as the lock engaged. I threw myself at the door, grabbing the handle. It wouldn't turn. I fumbled for my keyring, my fingers clumsy and numb. I jammed my key into the lock, but it wouldn't go. It felt like the inside had been filled with lead. I'm trapped. I'm trapped in here with this thing. I pulled out my phone. The screen was flickering, lines of static distorting the display, but it worked. I don't know who I'm writing this for. Maybe just for the universe to know that Anatoly existed. My hands are shaking violently. The skin on my knuckles is blistering, turning red and white. The song has stopped. But the light from the mass is getting brighter, and I can see things moving inside it now. Distorted shapes that look like faces, their mouths open in silent, smiling agony. The light is projecting shadows onto the concrete walls around me. Men in old Soviet-era work uniforms and flimsy-looking respirators. They're moving jerkily, their motions playing in reverse. A man drops a tool, and it flies back up into his hand. Dust lifts from the floor and settles back into the shape of a footprint. I just look down at my watch. The digital display is glitching, but I can read it. April 26, 1986. 1:23:17 a.m. The faces in the glow are looking at me. They know me. One of them is me. 1:23:05 a.m. My watch is running backward. Time itself is being unmade around me. I can feel it in my bones, a dizzying pull, like being swept up in a current. I can hear shouting outside the door now. Alarms are blaring. The sounds are muffled, distant, like they're coming from across an ocean of years. 1:23:48 a.m. The footstep. Someone is fumbling with the handle. A low rumble starts, deep in the earth, shaking the very atoms in my body. The concrete floor vibrates. The air grows thick, heavy, electric. 1:22:30 a.m. The reactor is going to blow. It is happening all over again, right above my head. And I am here for it. I think I understand. This isn't a tomb. It's an anchor, a repeating echo. I'm not the first maintenance worker to be drawn in here. We are the fuel that keeps the memory burning. The door handle is turning. I feel a strange calm now, a sense of duty. I need to get to my post.